So here we are with pack 1, with a few good options. Searing Spear, notable. Aven Squire, Prey Upon, but Mutilate, definitely what I'm going with. Can always... It requires you to be pretty heavy black, but even just its mana cost is quite worth it. It's -2/-2 across the board, can really wreck game states in this format. So here we have Crippling Blight, Bloodthrone Vampires, Switcheroo. I think we're going to lean towards Switcheroo. Card has a lot of potential. Rise from the Grave or the Black Ring. Essence, Scatter, Sign, and Blood are all very, very solid. Tormented Soul as well. I'm going to go with the Rise and hope we can pick up a Murder. So again, we have Ravenous Rats, Liliana Shade, Primal Clay, all good options. I'm actually going to go with the Rats. Seem to work out well enough. We'll grab the Shade here. Rats can be rather advantageous, especially in multiples. And it's synergistic with Rise from the Grave. Either it will net you another card and blocker, or you might be able to pick up something better. Oh, it gives you a little note now about land averages and stuff. Interesting. Also interesting is someone else is using a Hell's Caretaker avatar. I have not seen that in quite a few years. Starting to worry that we've disconnected at this point. Haven't seen any changes over here. There we go. Alrighty. Probably Tormented Soul. Duty Bound Dead's also pretty valid. Yeah, I think we're gonna go with the Exalted guy. Just hope to pick up more along the way. I look at that, since they both occupy the same slot, Duty Bound Dead makes more of our options better than the Soul alone would. Water Courser, but I'm not that interested, I'll just take the other Shade. As you can see, it's going very slow, all behind us. 2 5s and a 6. Well, most of the table's at 8. So here's some interesting options. There's the Primal Hunt Beast, which obviously big hexproof hill giant tends to work out pretty well. Attendant Knight, also very solid. And the Ring of Thune. Since we're not really firmly in a second Keller yet, I'm kind of leaning toward either of those. It seems to me like white's a little bit more open, because there are both of these here. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Intended Knight, and we'll see where that gets us. Centaur Courser's still around, so we'll take him that time. And here, I guess, Safe Passage. So that ended up slightly all over the place. Most of it doesn't matter, like Kindled Fury and the like. Ranger's Path probably won't be played. Sublime Archangel. That certainly settles our Keller argument. Um, yeah, there's really no comparison there. That's by far the best card in the pack. One of the best cards in the format. When played with several other guys on the board, it can just quickly end the game. Certainly a solid creature. With the only 3 toughness, though, it is susceptible to a lot of red removal, which is odd for most angels in that format. So here we have Avon Squire, Duskmantle Prowler, Dark Favor, and Captain's Call. Sleep is probably the best card in the pack, but we're not going double blue, so I think the Squire is our best bet. Searing Spear, probably the best card, and we also have a Servant and another Duty Bound Dead. We're going to go ahead and take the 3-1 though. It'll help recurve a little bit more, and it's even possible we'll see the Duty Bound Dead again. It's not likely we would see the Servant if we had passed it. Certainly turning into quite the little exalted deck though, although having the best exalted creature certainly helps. So here, this is interesting. Fairy Invaders is great, obviously, but we're not in that Keller. So we have mine, although we could splash, we'll Switcheroo and Fairy Invaders. That is certainly a valid plan. Cower and Fear really crushes a lot of the format, so I think that's what we're going with. Well, this is a little unfortunate for us. I think Dark Favor is probably our best call. Rewind's solid. Reckless Brute, as I've shown in my other videos, can be quite useful. Scroll Thief is good. Captain's Call can be okay. We're going to go with the Favor and hope we get a Tormented Soul, which we obviously want anyway, considering the kind of deck we're going for. Turn 1 Soul, turn 2 Dark Favor can be pretty brutal against most decks if you don't have an unsummon or something to handle it very, very quickly. Similarly, Dark Favor on a Duty Bound Dead at a later turn, because of the ability to regenerate, really limits your opponent's options to like unsummon and cross through pacifism, which on a O-Ring, of course. Oh, here I think Sign in Blood's our best bet. He's just a dumb big dude. He's an awkward guy. I mean, we would play him if we got another, but I think the ability to draw cards and kill our opponent with that's just a little bit more important. So here we can take Disentomb because we have a few high value creatures. And I guess the Zombie Goliath to edge out at the end. It's not really necessary. Not really liked. He's even worse than Fire Elemental, who I don't like to start with. I guess Prized Elephant's still the best card here. It's still a Hill Giant, even though we're not playing Forests. Divine Favor's also valid, but not a big fan. Kite Sail works well with the Exalted theme, being able to give them evasion. And there's a Veilborn Ghoul, which will certainly play over the Goliath. Ox seems fine if we're playing against an aggressive deck. Spell Twine. It's a bit of a whiff. Rancor finally opened one. Too bad I'm not in the colors. It's still justified to splash and play, and I very well might. Essence Drain's the other option, which is very, very good as well. I think I'm going to go with Essence Drain, although this is a stacked pack. Rancor, Volcanic Geyser, Searing Spear, and Essence Drain. And there's an Audric, who we're probably going to be playing. Also an O-Ring. I think Audric's better for our deck, but the power level is pretty comparable. O-Ring is the best removal in the format, so we'll see. So now we can either take another Servant, or we can take another Attendant Knight. Both work well for a deck, but I'm going to go ahead and take the Servant. Suddenly we're getting a lot of options. It's not something to really complain about. Griffin Protector is probably our best bet here. That's a bit unfortunate. Our really nice streak ended, but we'll take another safe passage. Phylactery Lich is basically unplayable for us, but another Aven Squire is appreciated. So 6 exalted creatures at this point, one of which is obviously much better than just an exalted creature. This time we're going to go ahead and pick up that Ring of Thune. We have enough white creatures that it's very, very valid to try. And a Sunstriker definitely goes well with the Exalted plan. Rancor should not still be there. There is absolutely no reason that card should have ever wheeled. And we're going to go ahead and take it. We have a prized elephant, and splashing green isn't that unreasonable. That's honestly a bit absurd. I don't think I've ever seen that. Even in an Urza's block, I don't think I ever encountered Rancor wheeling. Be like a 10th pick Pestilence or something. Seems like people did not like green this route. The Hexproof Ring is pretty solid if you're playing any of the blue flyers, so I'm surprised that was our last pick. But we'll see. Maybe everyone else just has completely crazy decks that don't play blue or green. I think the first thing that's going to come out is our 2 safe passages and our Guardian Lines there. Pillar Field Ox can go. Probably going to cut both Shades. Probably one Mastiff. Ring of Evos Isle obviously doesn't belong, neither does Revive. I'm okay with the prized elephant since we're going to be running 2 forests. The Rancor, of course. I wish we would have got that Evolving Wilds, but I just didn't think it was worth it at the time. Guess we'll cut Blood Throne as our last. Well, that doesn't seem quite right to me. We can always play the Blood Throne and just cut Dark Favor. We never got a soul or anything, so that seems fine. 8-6. I want the 7 planes because we do have the Sunstriker, and then we have two white guys pretty early. The rest seems just fine though. We'll see how it rolls. Alright, and here we are on the play in round 1. Certainly think that's a keepable hand. Lead in with planes in case we get to play the Sunstriker. And we didn't make the draw, but that's still just fine. I'm tempted to lead in with the Blood Throne because I'd much rather it accidentally die than the Even Squire. Missing the land drop's certainly inconvenient at this point. A land makes the Reckless Brute relatively ineffectual. Attendant Knight answers that pretty simply. We are setting ourselves up to get Chandra's Furied, though. We're at the point now where if we connect with our Blood Throne, we win. In case you were curious why we were attacking with the board. Two, 4, 6, 8, 10. Oh, we'd actually be just short. Still think that's just fine, leaving him in the situation that he's in. Yeah, and I see no reason to feed out there, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alternatively, we can let first strike damage occur, and then that would be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 added on, and we do win. Wonderful. And since we saw nothing of his deck, I don't think any of that's valid. Very different hand from our last one. If we play Sign in Blood, we're most likely going to have to discard a card. So I think we're going to pass at the moment. Really like to draw our land next turn. Perhaps set up a... Yeah, now we're forced to block, which is awkward. Oh, that's just fine as long as we draw land. So we got a 4-2 in that exchange. And of course, quite a beating. If we draw planes, we'll be able to reverse that easily enough. Another valid option was playing the Ravenous Rats and make him discard one of his 2 cards, but I imagine at least one's a land. Yeah, there goes that mountain. Oh, it does add multiple instances of exalted. That's fascinating. That makes it much better than I thought it was, and much better in our deck. Yeah, exalted 1, exalted 2. And that would be just enough. Yeah, Sublime Archangel, obviously quite a powerhouse. Phenomenal way to win, though.